in a written parliamentary response submitted in August, Police Minister Senzo Mchunu revealed that there were 65.3 billion rands worth of alleged recklessness, negligence and misconduct cases against the SAPS. Claims include accusations of wrongful arrest, assault, as well as shooting incidents. And for more on this, we're now joined by Samke Mkhize, a representative of a victim who alleges assault and death threats from police in Durban. And he joins us now via our video link. Samke, thank you so much for your time this evening here on SABC News. Perhaps let's start off here. Tell us about your ordeal. Of course, you are speaking on behalf of the victim, and actually what transpired in September this year.
Thank you very much, and good evening to your viewers. So I think just to put context, the complainant in this matter is an attorney, and just to almost summarize and give a sequence of the events, what had happened was on Sunday the 29th of September, the complainant, as an attorney, was acting in a representative capacity. He was called by a client who was facing imminent arrest in the Mbilo area in Durban. He attended to the scene, given that it is a client of his, that he was available to attend to it. As he arrived, before he was able to alight from the vehicle, the client told him that, look, he didn't know where he was being taken. There were two police vehicles, namely an H1 vehicle, both unmarked H1 and a Q7, but all uniformed police officials. What then transpired, I think that's when the issue starts. He then obviously conducted his duties as a legal representative, just to obtain information as to where the person was going to be detained and what was happening. He then proceeded to follow the vehicles as the police ignored him, and then they proceeded in a direction towards the King Edward Hospital. He followed the vehicles. At the traffic light turned red. He stopped, and at that point in time, he was then confronted by several police officers. They were hitting his windows, instructed him to alight from the vehicle. He duly complied. At that point in time, as he attempted to explain that he was a legal representative, he was accosted by the police officers. They held him in a chokehold. He was slapped around and beaten in full public view. This was at 9 a.m. on Sunday morning. And as this happened, he attempted to explain that he was a legal representative of the person who they had detained. They then proceeded to unlawfully search his motor vehicle, still continuing to harass him, holding him in that chokehold. They then forced him to open his cell phone because one of the officers thought that he'd been taking a video. And, you'd obviously only be concerned about that if you're doing something wrong.
Yeah.
At that point in time, they forced him to insert his PIN. He opened up the cell phone. They checked the cell phone. There was nothing there. And the most frightening thing is that once they then found his card, his practice card issued by the Legal Practice Council, one of the officers took a photo of the card, and in no uncertain terms said to him he would remember the face, and should he cause any problems, they said in Zulu, "Sizokubulala." And that's exactly what transpired in that particular matter.
I mean, that's quite alarming. And, just talking about the tail bit there at the end, talking about him now being threatened by these police officers. I mean, one would even ask, if you're threatening somebody who is an attorney, what happens then if you are threatening like an ordinary person on the side of the road? Maybe if you can just tell us about that ordeal as well. How did that make the attorney feel if, they could so brazenly say that to his face while he is a legal representative?
This was an absolute travesty of justice, given that he was there conducting his duties as an officer of the court. It's an extremely traumatic experience, and for this reason, we've obviously kept his detailed and personal information confidential. We've instructed a law firm and have written both to the Minister of Police. We've also written to the Legal Practice Council. A similar letter will also be sent to the Premier of KwaZulu-Natal in his capacity also as in his oversight capacity over community safety. And I think it's very alarming, especially given that while we obviously applaud the work of the police, more especially in the combating of crime, we should definitely we shouldn't be lenient and be extremely vigilant over overhandedness and police brutality, because this is effectively what this is. It effectively attempts to beat people to submission, which is not the rule of law. It's not the rule of justice in this country. And, notwithstanding the issues police face, obviously, in carrying out their duties, they still need to do that lawfully. And it's for that reason that the victim in this instance has lodged a criminal proceedings against the officers concerned. He has also been in contact with the Independent Police the Directorate, IPID, in KwaZulu-Natal, and also at this point in time is also proceeding with civil action against the Minister of Police, of course,
Yeah.
Pending the discussions there, specifically regarding the ordeal, given how traumatic it was. It had a very grave impact on his integrity, both as a human being and as an officer of the court, and it's not something we should tolerate at all.
And what has been the police's response? I mean, this has been reported now to the police station. Have they tried to reach out to the representative, the person you are representing tonight?
Not at all. So at this point, there's no response. Of course, I think we actually also welcome the response we did receive, however, from IPID. IPID is aware of the matter. They responded on the same day, and investigations have ensued in that regard. However, there's been no other responses to the correspondences that we've issued to the minister in this regard.
What interventions would you like to see? I mean, you've instructed a law firm to go ahead and institute legal proceedings in this regard. You've also written to the minister and the premier as well. What would you like to see in terms of the interventions here being made?
Most importantly, I think in the letter that we've directed to the minister, it's really to bring this matter to the attention and ensure that the officers are brought to book, especially given that I think, as you'd explained in the prelude, this is part and parcel of a litany of matters against the Minister and Department of Police for unlawful policing. It's similar to apartheid policing, to be frank. So the type of intervention we are definitely looking for is consequences for the persons involved. We want them charged criminally for assault, more especially given that, this was, the brazen nature that the assault took place. It seems normal that police can beat you to submission and force you to say what they want you to say. So what we're really looking for is accountability. We would want the officers involved charged, and that's the most important thing at this point in time. Very importantly, the client in this instance is also part and parcel of the claim that we'll be instituting, given that the client too was taken. The police took him on a joyride all day. Took his property, specifically being his cell phone and motor vehicle. But the strange thing is that he was never detained. He was released at the end of the day. These things are being held, to our understanding, at the Durban North Police Station. So it's probably one of the units which operate from that police station. But we're really looking for justice here. We want the police officers identified in due course to take its place.
What makes this case so important to you, particularly when we speak about police brutality in the country?
Look, I think police brutality is a prevalent issue. And of course, it's always a double-edged sword, where we obviously want the police to conduct their duties without fear and favor. And of course, when faced with, brutal criminals, they obviously need to conduct their duties and at times, enforce force. This being said, this does not mean that police are now given carte blanche to do as they please and bully citizens. And that's the most important thing. And notwithstanding that this is a member of the legal fraternity and a duly admitted officer of the court, this is a human being, and that's the starting point. And I think it's part and parcel of the interventions that have taken place over the past 30 years in democratizing the police services and ensuring that the police know that they're rendering a service. They're not a force that is there to force people to submission. That's very important. So, which is why this matter is very important to me. It's very close to my heart. We've had various matters where people have been part and parcel. I think one of the professors from one of the universities in Western Cape actually cited this in a blog, where he writes about various matters that have been brought before courts and adverse findings against the department and the Minister of Police specifically, of course, in a vicarious capacity. Now, this is why we ultimately want action. We want to ensure that we rid the police of those bad apples, because ultimately, the police are there to carry out a very integral service to, the social compact, ensuring that citizens are safe and able to go about their days in a safe and genuine and humane manner. This being said, there are people who take advantage of that. They take advantage, they breach the oath of office. They breach the trust, the public trust that we entrust in this office. And we really want accountability there to ensure that citizens are able to trust the police services and trust the bona fide or good faith with which they conduct their services.
All right, Samke, thank you so much for your time this evening and for that explanation. That is Samke Mkhize. He is the representative there of the legal, or the lawyer, or the attorney rather, who has allegedly been assaulted by the police. Now, the Late Edition has reached out to the Independent Police Investigative Directorate for comment on this issue. IPID says it currently does not have the case on file, but will follow up with the reported police station tomorrow.